All right, we are live on Facebook, YouTube,
I don't even know what the
YouTube
YouTube
Live.
is. Sorry.
Here we go, messing up already.
Oops. My bad.
Live on Facebook and YouTube, 3 different ways. From Sunday, we are talking LGMD awareness. We have 2 special guests in our studio from Q4U Podcast on YouTube. We got Robert and Luke Harris both joining us. We are talking LGMD, limb-girdle muscular dystrophy. We are a family united across this nation, come together as for one cause and one cause only, and that is to give comfort, peace, and support, along with raising awareness to any and all who are broken down by this horrible, horrible disease we're about to talk about. So please sit down, turn it up, listen up, because we're about to talk some very serious stuff. And these 2 guys here, they got a little education in it, and we're going to enlighten everybody as far as to what LGMD entails, muscular dystrophy entails. We have many shows coming up.
First off, I'd like to start out, man. I wasn't sure that it was limb girdle.
Yes.
I didn't know that exactly. Okay, I just found that out like a couple days ago when I was doing my research, and I was like, oh, wait, limb girdle. Like your limbs. So a lot of that made more sense to me, you know.
Because you got, if you actually Google it, if you go.
What's the YouTube?
Smiles Through the Pain.
YouTube?
Yeah, Smiles Through the Pain.
YouTube is Smiles Through the Pain.
Smiles Through the Pain on YouTube. Smiles Through the Pain on YouTube. YouTube Live. Yeah, if you actually Google muscular dystrophy without anything in front of it, you're going to pull up numerous types, like Dutchens. You know, that's one of them. Completely separate from limb girdle. Completely separate. You know, different symptoms, different diagnoses, everything. So, but when you get into limb girdle, as Jill told us on the podcast on your show, you know, there's like 38 or 40 confirmed subtypes, and there are many more that are not confirmed. So there's more out there that research hasn't yet uncovered because nobody's really getting tested and other things like of that nature, you know. So
they can't find it.
They can't find it.
No, they can't find the YouTube.
Right. It's on there. Smiles Through the Pain.
So I can't see it.
Megan brought up a good point the other night when she was giving us some.
And you got smile.
Megan mentioned that it is absolutely free to get your genetics tested. When you're pregnant, they can still do it there. You guys want to, walk us through that one?
Yeah, just one second. I'm trying to locate the podcast because it's not pulling it up for some reason. It should be all one word.
Yeah, I can't find you either.
I don't know why. It says I'm live on the. I think I know why. Because I signed up with my Google account. Let me see.
You typed your name wrong.
1 second, y'all. Got some technical difficulties. Why is it doing that?
Because there's a
good company. RJ and I had our fair share of gremlins.
The link should pop up automatically. I don't know. It says I'm casting live, so we are live on YouTube. I'm going to have to look it up and see what's going on with that.
Okay, then I get to watch it tonight.
They can watch it on Facebook.
Yeah, I know you're on Facebook right now. You are streaming on Facebook.
It's just showing videos. It's not showing YouTube Live. It's not showing YouTube Live. It should be on YouTube Live. Either way, all right. Let's revert back to what you just asked me, so I can kind of refresh that.
So, when RJ and I got on here, Megan had shared about that testing your genetics is absolutely something that's free that people don't know about.
Yes, absolutely. All you gotta do is ask for it. If you're pregnant, you ask your OBGYN, or your primary doctor. You bring it up like first you ask for yourself, then you ask for your kid. And if you are pregnant or in the process of about to get pregnant, working on getting pregnant, then not only can you get the testing done for you, but you can get testing done for the father for free as well.
See, when we were in there, they were talking about getting Riley tested for Down syndrome and other things,
Okay. All right, let me stop you there, Robert. That is that is testing that is state mandated. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Those tests are not the test that I'm talking about.
Okay.
So when I say genetic testing, they're going to they check for like, that they test for testosterone 14, 13, along with Down syndrome. But that is not the genetic testing that I'm talking about.
Okay. See, because I was wondering about that because the one that they were wanting us to do for Riley when she was a baby, they wouldn't guarantee her being safe after the testing.
Right. So the testing that I'm talking about, you verbally have to say, I want genetic testing done.
Absolutely.
You cannot say, because I know in North Carolina, we have to sign a paper saying, like, it's state mandated that they test you for these.
Yeah.
And the baby for them. But the genetic testing that I'm talking about takes you verbalizing that you want in-depth genetic testing.
See, that's good to know.
So what should happen when you verbalize that is your doctor, your OBGYN, should refer you to a genetic OBGYN. Completely different office.
Yeah.
And a genetic counselor will talk to you, get to know the woman's history and the man's history. And then they go and you see a doctor and they do the blood work and all that stuff. That's the testing I'm talking about. It's completely different.
See, I found out about genetic testing and talking to the genetic counselor after we had a miscarriage. And they were explaining that our miscarriage was basically due to my wife's body was rejecting the chromosomes that were being presented, and that's what was going to happen. So we'd never heard that genetic testing or genetic counseling was even happening, and we're in our 40s by the time we had our last kid. So they were strongly counseling us against having another kid.
Right.
So that's the only time I ever heard of it.
And usually those genetic counselors are angels, like they are godsends.
Yeah, the information that you gain from those it's just vast. Like my wife would come home from one of those appointments and just hit me with so much information at one time. It's just blah, it's crazy.
I didn't know I could say such big words, actually.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you, it sounds like they're speaking Russian when.
Oh, don't get the email from Invite without having a neurologist close by. Like
I took that stuff.
It was like trying to read code, and we just lost Robert. Somehow he'll pop back up.
He'll pop back up. You guys had mentioned in the other interview that you were seeing a neurologist in Iowa, a specialist. About that situation, what happened there?
Is he asking what's happening in Iowa?
No, he's talking about the specialist that was out there. So the neurologist, the best neurologist Michaela ever had, he retired the very next day after he saw her for the first time. And he retired to go to Iowa State to teach genetics. That was where he was going. So before he left, he asked us permission to take Michaela's biopsy and blood work results because her condition was so rare. Charlotte had never heard of it. and to put it on the table at Iowa State to try to figure it out because nobody can figure it out. And upon getting there, as I'm calling them as of the beginning of this year, talking to the admin at Iowa State, the whole lab has been shut down because it was defunded because lgmd was classified as orphaned, meaning there aren't enough cases for them to present a case to be funded by the government grant-wise, so it would have to resort to outside funding. Basically, it had to come from the citizens, United States of America. So that being said, like when I talk to one of these guys at these big companies, and they say, "Oh, we're not going to fund it. We're not going to give you a grant," and I'm like, "Well, why?" "Oh, there's only 13 cases of your daughter's case, so it'll just die out. So I got to wait on my daughter to die for this to go away."
Let me Iowa. When I called and spoke to the lady over their research lab, this isn't just a one-time thing. They want her to come every year.
They're not talking about Michaela going.
And I know, but I'm saying in general. Yeah. Like, when we do set it up, she said they like for them to come yearly because people progress differently. And they want to run studies, because they can't just go by one time. They have to go by several times to see how this person has progressed in a year and, versus 2 years, that kind of thing.
I think Jill said she had to go every 6 months, right?
I can't exactly.
Jill, how many months did you have? How often did you have to go?
She's in the chat feed, so.
Yeah, I thought Jill was saying that she had to go back every 6 months.
See that?
Yeah, they said they had to Smiles Through the Pain.
What, on the
John,
YouTube?
they have been waiting on you. Don't be dropping in here with no hearts, dude. They've been looking for you.
John showing up.
He gonna drop in here and throw some hearts. They've been looking for you. Where you been? I told him he was at the titty bar. Not joking. We knew you were waiting, taking your daughter. That's what we knew.
Yeah, so like when we first got Michaela in with the MDA clinic in Levine's down here, they want her. She goes to the specialist every 6 months. She just answers in the chat feed.
Yeah.
Every 6 months. But they wanted us. They were going to pay for us. Well, they were going to reimburse us, I should say. They wanted us to go out, and me and Megan would take some parent classes as far as how to deal with it as parents, for that. But I mean, how you gonna if it's so rare? If it's so rare, you don't know anything about it.
I found it. You're right here. You have to put the @ symbol.
Yeah, put the @ symbol to get to my YouTube. @Smiles Through the Pain.
Yeah, see, this is all just amazing stuff to me. That one, there's a. Jill says, but I am not a part of the trial as of right now. Trials just depends on how they want to study and what they are studying on how often they will need you to come.
Yeah, I mean, like, for her subtype, like, she has a very popular subtype. A lot of LGMD patients have her subtype, 2A. 2A and 2B are very, very popular. She's right here on Facebook.
No, I just seen a woman.
What? On here? You didn't see a woman on there?
Yes, I did. It popped up below y'all. There was a woman.
It might have been you. It's delayed.
No, it wasn't. She was in a green shirt.
I ain't seen a woman in a green shirt.
Oh, I did. I'm telling you I did.
Anyway, stop interrupting the feed.
Steven, I'm not trying to. I'm just showing you that I did.
But it just amazes me that there's these people out there like us, me and Luke both, that were completely unaware that there was this thing going on that had nothing behind it. And I ran into you guys on TikTok through FBM_John35 Speed and heard the story about you guys, and I was like, oh my God,
Right,
this is actually a thing that people are standing behind because there is no awareness. How do I know there's no awareness?
We won't say that.
Aware.
I can't say that. You can't say there is no awareness because there is some. there is some because LGMD Awareness Day, they do that, and they got the LGMD national conferences. But what's stemming from that adds up to practically nothing. You know, as Jelena just said in the chat feed, too is very popular. So that being said, Sarepta up there in New York and New Jersey, they're doing clinical trials on genetic sequencing for 2A and 2B. Nothing else because it's popular. If it's not popular, they just sweep it under the rug. It gets no attention. So, yes, there is awareness out there because you have some research facilities are doing work to try and find a cure for 2A and 2B. They're the only two. They're the only two. Dutchins, which is, like I said, is separate. They got a lot of attention too. But as far as, you get into all the subtypes, the 38 known subtypes, they ain't focusing on them.
Yeah.
They're not focusing on my daughters. And that's why when they call me and they say, oh, wait, all right, you're raising all this money, you're raising all this awareness, are you going to be sending money our way? And I'm like, no. Are you going to open your research lab up to do that subtype? Because obviously you're being funded from somewhere to already do clinical trials on 2A and 2B. So if you're not getting enough funding to do that, I'm going to add funding to it, then it's going to go towards these other subtypes. Because honestly, just from a logical, sound mind, when I say, all right, 9 out of 10, if I can get a cure through genetic alteration for one subtype, it's going to cover 9 or 10 others.
Yeah.
It's going to make it, and it's going to make it that much easier because now you have a prototype.
Yep.
So it's going to make it that much easier to keep moving forward. And before you know it, you got it for all of them. So when they're focusing on the most popular one, hold on, Jill's texting us. Hold on. And I think if they stumble on something, though, they will reach. Right. If they find something for 2A, but they ain't did it in years. So if they haven't done it in years, maybe they need to start focusing on some other subtypes. It might be easier in comparison to the natural genes or the natural genetic code for a healthy individual versus one that has muscular dystrophy. When they compare them on the scale going down, just like a seek and find, or whatever they call them, things that the kids be doing where you're matching up stuff in the pictures, you're looking for things that are missing. You know what I'm talking about? Just as for lack of better words, an example. The little comparison pictures. If you got a circle and a circle with a square and a square, and then there's a triangle over here and there's not a triangle over here, but then you got all these other shapes involved, you find the one that's closest to the same, and then you go and connect the two. And 2I, 2I does have exciting things happening. That's what Jill's saying now. LGMD2I has a few exciting things happening. When they stumbled on the progress they have made with LGMD2I, it led them to now working with mine and a few others. That's so, amazing. I mean, there is some progress. There's some progress. There's not enough progress. And my daughter has no progress. 2S has no progress. And all the other, all you ever hear about is 2I, 2A, 2B, Dutchins. You don't hear about none of these other things because there's not enough of them. So being there's not enough of them, that just tells you right then and there that not enough people are being tested. Because they've been testing since like the late 80s, I think. Yeah, seek and finds. You got it. Your mom, Seek and finds. So basically, if they treat this thing like a seek and find and they identify which subtype is closest to a natural genetic sequence, they're going to bridge that gap. They're going to bridge the gap. When they bridge the gap, they can apply that to the rest of them, in small alterations as they go. So as far as awareness goes, we can sit here and shout all day. We can have an awareness rally. What's it going to accomplish? If it's all going to the same place, they're not getting nothing done.
Right.
Or they're getting very little done. We go to another place, and the only reason I have so much faith in Iowa State is I hear it's praised for their genetic research. It's praised for their professors and their scholars that they have there as far as genetics go. They're neurologists, so, and they're big on cancer and some other things too. I know for a fact that they every time that Iowa State plays football, they bring all the kids, the cancer patients, the kids out onto the roof and let them watch the football game, and they do something special for the kids out there every time.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You know, every time they play at home. So, but as far as genetics go, like I just sent my daughter's muscle biopsy and her blood work to this university. Her very rare blood type and muscle biopsy. I want to know what they're doing. I want them to take that and use it. I don't want it just to sit there in the cooler. You know, if it's just sitting in the cooler, it's not accomplishing anything.
It's just like sending it on the other labs then.
Right. It's put on the back burner. In this case, there's no funding there, so they can't even pick it up and do nothing with it because they don't have either the staff capable or the funding to fund that staff or the equipment. You know, so the whole answer to the algorithm is to fund that university 100% of proceeds, not 3%, not 5%, not 12%, not 85%, but 100% of the proceeds going to that university and influencing them to, kickstart that motor and get it running. Because once that motor's running, now we're getting somewhere. But until then, we're not getting anywhere. Yeah, we're making people aware and trust and believe. John's already talking about getting genetically tested about the Asperger's for his daughter. And then you got all these people across the nation. I've had a couple people pop in my lives today that have one lady, her son has epileptic seizures. She's had him genetically tested. Advocacy and jump on that train for we need you all. That's where you make huge changes too. It still is enough. No, it's not enough, Jill. It's not. Advocacy is not enough. Right now,
Jill, since you're watching this, can you go ahead and pop that website down there in the bottom that you were telling us about Monday night? The website for all the paperwork to promote the
proclamation.
Proclamation.
Yeah, proclamating. Yes.
Thank you.
I've got it too. In fact, I don't think I got it in a banner, but I can put it in a banner once she sends it in. But as far as where we stand now, in order to get these grants, outside of getting our awesome, amazing American citizens who have stepped up to the plate, who are pushing the green wave, outside of eating into their pockets, to get the government to grant anything, whether it's by the state or by the federal government, noise has to be made. And the way you make noise is you get them numbers up. And I ain't talking about us. I'm talking about them genetic tests.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? The more genetic tests, the more people that ask for genetic tests means the more they got to crank up genetic research. Period. Whether I don't care if it's for Alzheimer's or anything, they've got to do it. There it is. Let me see if I can copy and paste this.
Thank you, Jill.
I can show it. I can show the comment. Here it is right here.
Stephen or Megan, maybe you could answer this question. You guys were made aware that this is a rare type or a rare condition has to happen that both of you have to share the genetics to make it happen?
No. There's 4 ways. Like my wife said earlier, there's 4 ways.
No. You're going to answer that completely wrong.
Okay. Go ahead.
He's asking if you both have to have it.
For it to be rare, and you don't.
No, the gene mutation that you and I both have is a rare.
Mm-hmm.
But you and I both are carriers,
right,
which give it to her. But if she only was a carrier from you, for example, she wouldn't have it. Or if she was a carrier from me, she wouldn't have it.
Well, she gets
it from both of us.
Yeah.
That I understand what you were saying, but I just wanted to break that down just a little bit into him. So,
could you hear her?
The mutation that we have.
That's the question that I had. So when people get genetic tested, what they're asking for something specific, they want to know specific what they're looking for, and then they need to also know that it takes 2 to tango for it to become something that they need to be concerned about.
So the Stephen and I weren't together when I got the results that Michaela had. And when they read the 2 mutated genes to me, one was the POTM2 gene, and I looked it up, and that said muscular dystrophy. I didn't know it was called limb girdle muscular dystrophy. I didn't know that until I went to a doctor's appointment, and then they told me that she had limb girdle muscular dystrophy. Then I joined a group on Facebook for limb girdle muscular dystrophy, just thinking that that was a thing, you know. And everybody on there was screaming subtypes, and I was like, well, I've never heard subtypes. And that's when it dawned on me, that's what makes it rare. Because everybody in that group didn't have it. Everybody was subtype 2A, 2B. I think there was a few others, but everybody was like, what does your daughter have? So I'm telling them, you know, subtype 2N. And they were like, we've never heard of that. And so then we went to the cardiologist. This is obviously when Stephen and I were together, and we were talking to them about it, and they were like, yeah. And the funniest thing about it, I don't know if Stephen remembers this, they have like a counselor, not a counselor. She's like a social worker for children, and they do a thing for kids that have muscular dystrophy during the summer and whatnot. And she come in there, and she was like, I received this about, she was telling us, but what she was telling us, it was us, and she didn't realize it. And I told her, I was like, so you're talking about us? And she was like, oh my God, they've been talking about your daughter.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's very in depth, and like we just knew she had muscular dystrophy for a while before we even found out subtype, that there was a subtype. You know, and we found that out through Facebook. We didn't find out what subtype, but it opened the door for us to ask the question, what subtype does our daughter have? Because we're hearing 2A, 2B, 2M, 2I, all this stuff. And all we can say is our daughter's got muscular dystrophy, but we can't explain what type of muscular dystrophy. So nobody could give us answers that we were looking for. So back to the doctor we go. Let's get some more answers, you know. And that's when we found out that she had 2N. That's when Charlotte, down here at Charlotte, they were screaming, oh, we've never heard of this. This is so rare. And we started getting into more depth as far as the research goes into our daughter as far as the MDA center, you know. And even with that, you know, there's still not enough information. I mean, yeah, you're telling me that it's limb girdle. My daughter's legs are going. Her arms are going. But now her hands are going. And then upon further investigation, because I'm a carrier for cardiomyopathy as well, my daughter got a dose of that, and that is congestive heart failure. Now we're looking at the heart. When's it going to hit her heart? When's it going to hit her face? You know, when's it going to hit her feet? Or any other muscle in the body? When's it going to hit it? You know? And it really tightens your chest up to hear these things about your kid. Like as a parent, the last thing you want for your child is to be unhealthy. You know, facing, you know, all the things she faces, whether it's physical or mental or emotional. You know, and we can break down all of that, like to where it comes out in tears, because it hurts so bad to sit there and watch your child go through this. You know, I mean, like Megan was with her 12 years before we got back together. You know, and she didn't even know then what it was. She knew something was wrong. She didn't know what it was, and the struggle was already real. And like when they gave us the diagnosis, you know, it goes to the point where she's like, she told you, like, if I deny it, it don't exist. I'm gonna deny it. Nothing's wrong with my kid. She's perfectly fine. It don't exist. You know, but the reality of what the eye is seeing versus what the mind is trying to make it see eventually hits home. You know, and that's where it starts to hurt, because everything the doctors say co-aligns with what we're seeing. And like the first day she told me when our results came back, I'll never forget. She called me at work and said she's got this and this is going to happen. This is what the doctor said. She's heading down the road towards a wheelchair. She'll be lucky if she makes it to 16 on her feet, you know. And I was sitting at the red light, and I blame myself for not knowing, even though I shouldn't blame myself because I didn't know. It is a smack in the face. That's what Jill just said to the chat feed. That's a smack in the face, and it is a smack in the face. Like literally, I was sitting at a red light, and I broke down crying with my wife on the phone, and I just felt so sorry for my child right then and there. Because leading up to that, just dealing with her, I thought she was just going through the normal teenager stuff, about to be a teenager stuff at 12 years old, you know, and then get the hit with that. And then now I'm thinking, okay, well, what about next year and her next birthday or her next vacation? You know, things started hitting home, and it's like now I'm really looking at her in a whole nother light because what the doctors are saying is making complete sense. And then I look at myself and I'm like, damn, we created for lack of better words, we created a monster that we have to fight because she's already fighting. We created a monster and didn't even know we were doing it. You know?
Me and you talked about it a little bit, Stephen. I don't know if anybody else was around for that, and I don't think we were podcasting that. But you said she really enjoys art and loves art, but now she's losing her hands too.
Right.
She's dropping her phone. She can't draw.
I mean, it goes right back to the thing. Like, it's not just a muscle disease. You know, it's not just she's losing her muscles. You know, she's lost all comprehension. You know, she can't. The prime example, I'll give you a prime example, and it's a touchy subject, but when my father-in-law, my wife's dad, when he died, and we broke the news to Michaela, like, I was in Charlotte. I wrote that song y'all heard the other night on the YouTube, on the podcast. That night, he was laying in the hospital. I wrote that song that night. I never changed it, never edited, nothing. Raw emotion. And the next day, we knew time was getting close. My wife was telling me, like, you got to be ready to come when I tell you to come. And I went and got Michaela from school on the west side of Charlotte. And it was rush hour. And Megan had told me, like, look, get here as fast as you can. Like, it's going to happen soon. I want him to see his grandbabies before he goes. You know? And we flew up the road. I had a police escort through 6 counties, 120 miles an hour. We flew up the road. And she had no emotion. I told her, like, look, this is probably going to be the last time you see your grandfather. And she's like, okay, and smiles about it. You know? And then I never forget the night that he did pass. Or, yeah, it would have been, no, the night before he passed, I was at Mama Smiles' house, Megan's mom, and her sister had come home to rest because they'd been at the hospital. Megan stayed at the hospital. I came back to take care of the kids. And that night he coded for a little while. He coded.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, remember when Kelly freaked out? He quit breathing.
He didn't. Never code.
I'm just saying that's what the call was. He coded.
No, he didn't code.
That's not what I was told.
No, you were told.
Well, that is a code. He stops breathing. Either way, he stopped breathing. He was having a real hard time breathing, and her sister was freaking out, and Michaela was standing right beside me, and Kelly ran by her, and she said, my daddy's dying, and it didn't affect her, no emotion, like she didn't comprehend it. And then it really hit home. Megan had showed her a picture of him after he had died. We had a picture of him after he had died, still in the hospital bed, and Michaela laughed at it, you know, just bust out laughing. And it took 3 days. Was it 3 days before she actually broke down and cried? Or 2 days?
I don't know.
You don't know. You don't remember? Ain't no way. It was in the parking deck, remember?
It was the day he died then, because I jumped her ass.
Yeah, it was the day he had died. It finally hit her. Like when she went to the hospital, it finally hit her, and it just blew out of her the emotions, you know. And It's like she don't comprehend, and that goes up to nowadays. As she's getting older, she still doesn't comprehend. Mathematics, counting money, anything. So I mean, it's not just, and we go right back to where we had spoke about before about how the brain makes the muscles operate, how they report back that they're completing the operation to lift your foot or squeeze something, pick it up, and it's communicating that it's doing it, but there's not enough muscle left there to do it. So she's falling short on whatever goal she is, and she ends up falling or dropping something or bumping into something or something. Something happens. Either way it goes, something happens. And it's that disease doing it to her. It's nothing else. Because all of her other tests come out right.
So
She can't
Steven,
comprehend.
I got a question. Yeah. My question is, you were starting to mention when you guys were first aware of her condition.
Right.
You're starting to talk about symptoms. Like, I think you mentioned last time we talked growing pains.
Right. So with Michaela, we started noticing that she was limping a little bit, and she never really expressed pain like that. So we started noticing the physical signs, like she would complain about trying to pick something up, and that's when we started noticing things, but we still didn't have no results, So I mean, we still didn't know what it was, and we didn't know why. Now that we know why, we can look back and say, oh, okay, that's what that was. 1 second, as Jill just commented, she said a loss can cause one person to lose all strength faster. Stress definitely factors in. Patients with muscle dystrophy take stress harder than others.
Wow.
They take it harder than others. So that means they're timid. They're humble and they're timid, and aggression or stressful situations makes it worse. It makes it worse on that particular individual. And granted, it may or may not affect each person differently in their strengths or their weaknesses as far as mentally it goes. But as she said, it does affect people with muscular dystrophy.
Yeah, that's
Steven,
crazy.
question.
That's another thing I never knew.
Mm. Yeah, most definitely.
So you guys mentioned before that it'll onset at different ages for different people. Like
it depends. It depends. It really depends, because you have either you're born and you start with it right there, or it lays dormant, called early onset. So I mean, it was there early, but it ain't popped up yet. And like in Jill's case, it popped up when she was 19, and it just hit her just like that. It wasn't a progressive state. Okay, I'm walking, now I'm limping, now I'm slowing down, now I'm sitting, now I'm in a chair. It wasn't like that. It just popped on her like that. With my daughter, it's a steady progressive state going downhill. It's just like walking down a hill. Like Jill was dropped off the cliff versus someone walking down a hill, for lack of a better explanation.
But your daughter could still fall off that cliff. It's not just a steady decline all the time. There is a cliff eventually, correct?
Well, according to the doctors, yes. But like I said, it's been a declining hill since she was born. Jill said she knows a man who didn't show symptoms until 52 years of age.
Wow.
Had it his whole life, didn't show symptoms. That's what I'm saying. So people aren't getting tested. If you get tested, you might know it's coming. There's a possibility. There's a percentage of a chance that it's coming. By getting tested, that makes you aware of that. But nobody's aware. That's the whole meaning of awareness, is to make people aware that this could possibly happen. So with Michaela, like, yeah, they say it's going to happen before they're saying it's going to happen, or usually happens before 16 years of age. And they can kind of project hers because of the rate she's going. With every time she goes back to see the specialist, they're checking how she squats, how she lifts her legs, and doing their calculations however they do it. and coming up with a number of progressive deterioration over a period of 6 months or a year, whichever it is. And that gives them a timeline that if it keeps up at the same rate, this is where she's going to end up. So that's why they say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Now, I'd like to touch this real quick with you too, Stephen. Now, just because they say that it should sit by 16, if she makes it to 17 and she still hasn't had a worst case, that doesn't necessarily mean it's better like most things, right?
No, it doesn't. It's always there. It's always there, and I'm pretty sure Jill will verify that it's always there, whether or not. I mean, if you look at it like this, all right. So, all right, she just answered right here. She said, usually, if a child gets it, a worst case in adulthood, the luckier ones are the ones who aren't like Michaela. But with that said, I was told I would not be walking past 20, and well, I still walk a little. But since Michaela showed earlier, it's hard telling. So this is why we need to move quick to a cure. 100% agree. 100%. Because, like I say, once it's gone, it's gone. So if her muscle's this big and it deteriorates and she doesn't do anything, no PT, no nothing, and it just gets down to this big, and then she does a little PT, not overdoing it, it's going to stay right there for a little while, but it's just going to slow it down. So it's still getting smaller. It's still going away until it's gone. So it may slow it down, the progression, but it doesn't completely get rid of the situation or the problem.
Yeah.
Stephen, you had said that being too aggressive with physical therapy because the disease is tearing apart the muscles, and when we work muscles, we're tearing them apart so they build back up. But right. Too much of that is actually counterproductive.
Absolutely. Her PT consists of walking for 2 minutes on the treadmill at a slow rate, like a normal person, not enough to break a sweat, tossing the ball back and forth. If you watch one of my TikToks, I got some pictures of it on Smiles Through the Pain. Tossing the ball back, light, I mean, stupid light, like every day, like walking around the house PT. Like, if she were to sit on her bed and do absolutely nothing every day, she would deteriorate twice as fast. Yeah. But if she gets up and she walks throughout the house, 10, 12, 14 times a day without overdoing it, she's just fine. If she goes outside and tries to ride her bicycle and she rides for 2 minutes and she starts to hurt, she gets off. Okay, you didn't overexert. If she overexerts, all right, hold on, we got something from Jill here. She says, I actually was taken out of physical therapy because it was getting to be too hard for me, and we're currently fighting for water therapy to be approved for me. Every doctor, well, she can't no more. They've taken her out of PT because of her hands. Now she's going to occupational because her physical therapist said that it is doing nothing for her. It's not stopping. It's not stopping. It's not slowing it down. It's still moving just as fast as it was before. So because if they were slowing it down, it wouldn't have moved to the hands. Now it's moved to the hands. Well, and where's it going to go next? So they want to get her in the occupational and focus on the hand to slow it down there and see if there's something else they can do. So everybody suggested getting her at the Y down here, getting her, water therapy is the best therapy for someone with muscular dystrophy. It's like anti-gravity. You're working, but you're not working. So that's probably the best therapy that she can get as far as giving it a stay of absence or a stay of leave to alleviate time as far as the deterioration process goes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why I am so adamant, about hear my voice, hear me cry, hear my voice, hear me cry. Make people aware. Let's get tested. Let's get the numbers up because trust and believe, every time somebody gets tested, there's a record of it. And the more records that are popping up with subtypes, lgmd, or whatever it is, I don't care. If people are getting genetically tested, that's telling the genetic research facilities They need to start requesting more money from the federal government to support the research into all these genetic findings. So even if we are not specifically funding Iowa State, all the big wigs in this, Big Farm and everybody, it becomes mandatory that they get involved because of the numbers. A spike in numbers, just like with COVID. I mean, look at COVID. Look at COVID. COVID was nothing, and then now, oh, case. Now, 70 million in research. Got to find a cure.
Mm-hmm.
Same situation. Same exact situation. Can I get the same attention that they're giving with COVID? Can I get the same attention that they get with any other disease that's floating around here?
Yeah.
That's where you get the noise. That's where you get the big. Okay, right here she said, I stand corrected. There are 30 different subtypes of LGMD and 40 plus types of muscular dystrophy, just to clarify.
Wow.
With that being said, there's so much of it out there, but there's still not enough numbers to catch the attention of people like Bill Gates, who want to drop $70 million into research, and trying to find a cure, dropping it on these laboratories, or other big companies like Microsoft is Bill Gates, but any of these other big companies out there that are just dumping money into these places to hurry up and find a cure before it kills everybody. All right, well, how about we hurry up and find a cure before everybody can't walk, or hurry up and find a cure before it kills somebody, because LGMD can kill you. It can shorten your lifespan dramatically.
Yeah.
You start deteriorating when your heart starts to go, it's over with.
That's for sure.
It's over with. And if your brain goes before your heart goes, it's over with.
Yeah, those are two muscles that you're not living without.
Right. And who wants for someone they love, someone they call family, to be so limited and feel so left out of everything? Oh, I can't go today. My chair won't fit in that, or I can't go today. It hurts too bad. Oh, I can't come answer my door because I can't get out of my own bed.
Stephen, you had talked about in our other interview about the pain threshold and the pain level that she's feeling. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So the way these doctors generally come up with their tests, they register a CPK level, which is the pain level that someone feels throughout their body throughout a day's time, 24 hours. And the average person's pain level is between 6 and a 131. A 6 and a 131, that's with migraines, with headaches, muscle aches, spasms, whatever, cuts and bruises, all of that. 6 and 131. 131 being the highest, like the most, like that's like a 10, and 6 would be the 1. So Michaela's first test, she was over 3,000. That was 5 years ago. Her second CPK test was over 5,000, and then she spiked from 5,000 to over 600,000. But just I can't imagine. Like I can't even put it into words. I can read the paperwork. Yeah, or I can't go today because I can't afford an unaccessible vehicle. That's what Jill just said.
Yeah.
So with CPK,
I write stories and I do illustrations. So let me try to maybe paint an idea of what she's feeling. So you got a paper cut, right? And
right.
That hurts. And we're thinking somewhere on middle to high range because it's tiny, but it hurts. Now imagine what you're saying is your arm's broken, it's on fire, and you've got a chemical burn. It's just, you can't imagine what she's going through, and she's smiling through it all.
Let me tell you what the doctor said. This is the doctor's illustration of that. The doctor's illustration, his generic, blunt illustration is: imagine for 1 second that you shattered every bone in your body, were stuffed in a bag and rolled down a hill.
That's amazing. And that's what she lives through every day.
Well, like I said, we can't physically or even mentally say that because of comprehension. You have to comprehend pain. You have to acknowledge pain, right? Yeah, her body does hurt, and you can tell when it hurts. So, for me to imagine a pain spike that high, she's breaking world records where she's at. You know, can't imagine it. That means that every time she even twitches, it hurts. You know, but looking at it, you can never tell. And this is where the whole curse and a blessing come into play. You know, because yeah, granted,
smiles through that pain.
Right, it does hurt, and we know it hurts. The doctors are telling us. Her physical therapist, she said, "Are you okay? Are you hurt?" She said, "No." She says, "You're lying. Your blood work says otherwise." You know, so it throws a normal thinking, normal able person off to think that somebody can't comprehend that pain, but their body, their blood work is saying that they're going through that kind of pain. How do you comprehend something like that? How do you comprehend that?
There's no way.
You know, and I have to sit here and look at my child. Yeah, I agree. Jill just said there are so many of us who have been told our disease is in our heads. The disease is in the head. If it's in the head, why are the muscles gone?
Yeah.
You know, if it's in the head, why are the muscles gone? Why can't you stand up? You know, or if you can't stand up, why? What's going on? If it's in your head, if you're just imagining this, and it's not, what's that condition? Munchausen syndrome. I'm not sure if you're familiar with what that is. That's where a person basically thinks themselves into a disease. Or
yeah.
You know, this is nowhere near that. This is not Munchausen syndrome. This is not a psychotic or psychological defect, chemical imbalance, etc. Yeah, that is true.
Right. And I agree with that, Jill.
Yeah. She said they see us smile and wonder if we're really in pain. And that's where
it doesn't go through people's heads, because you hear it all the time in the real world. You lose a parent and everybody says, "I'm so sorry for your loss. I know how you feel." No, you don't. You didn't lose a parent. So for me to be here and say, "Oh yeah, my shoulder hurts. I know exactly how you feel." It's not the same. We're not talking about the same thing here. Not at all.
It's not the same.
So everybody out there, that's thinking, "Oh, well, if she can smile, it doesn't hurt that bad."
We're also casting live to YouTube at Smiles to the Pain on YouTube.
It's not something like that. They're smiling, but their bodies are destroying themselves.
Technically. I mean, like I said, as a parent, and this is what tears me up every time. When we get home from the doctor and I got all these bad results, and I got what I think as a logical, normal human being, that I got a 14-year-old kid. You know, I think that I can sit down and explain the birds and the bees and, you know, the do's and don'ts in life, and she's going to understand it. And when I sit down, I say, "Baby, one day you're not going to walk. You know, one day you're not going to be able to use your hands. One day you're not going to be able to smile. One day you're not going to be able to do a lot of things." And she just looks at me and smiles and says, "Okay." And I'm trying, and see, the thing is, as the parent in this situation, I'm trying to stress, enjoy your life, live it to the fullest, do what you can while you can, because this is being snatched away from you at a very slow but progressive rate. And she cannot comprehend it. You know, how do you do that as a parent? You know, and then after you leave that sit down with your daughter or your son or whoever it is, and you go and lay down yourself. Now you've done explained this, so now you're wondering what's going through her head when she lays down. Like I just told my kid that she won't walk one day. If you told me that, man, I wouldn't be able to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, I would be restless. I would be stressed to the max. Like because I have to walk. I have to use my hands. As a man of this household, everything I do is with my hands. This is how I make my income. This is how I provide for my family. If you were to tell me that right now, like tomorrow, you might not be able to use your hands, dude. I don't know what I would do.
No.
Like it's unfathomable. It's unfathomable. Hold on, I got a comment on TikTok. Let me see what she said. Sometimes people who smile when they are hurting are trying to protect those they love. That is very true. That's a true statement, and I agree. A lot of times people will smile through the pain to not let others know so they don't hurt them as well. Um, Although it does hinder in so many ways because if my kid's hurting, I want to know so I can comfort her. You know, but she's in a position where she doesn't want to feel like a burden to her mom or her dad by being weak, you know, less influential around the house or whatever. Like you should see Michaela throughout the house. Like when she can't do something that frustrates her, like she turns red in the face and she gets mad. You know, that raw emotion comes out, that hatred at herself for being the way she is. You know, and it's really really sad because you're sitting here, you're looking at your child, and you want the best. Why do you think I got her in basketball? Even though it was only for one season. One season. Her team carried her the whole way and made her smile at every game, you know. But during that one little bit of time of her life, she has a memory of where she belonged to something, where she actually accomplished something. So when even like around the house, man, like I don't get it. I don't get it, brother. You know, it's like, you know, you think about your average 14-year-old girl. Think about a teenager. What do 14-year-old girls like to do? They like to decorate. They like to keep a nice, pretty room, fold their clothes, make sure everything's put up nice and neat. You know,
Yep.
yeah, because they got friends. They got. Hey, Christy, how are you? They got friends, and they're following the trends. They're dressing like the other girls. You know, my daughter does none of that. My daughter doesn't even comprehend the fact that, and no, I'm not talking crap about my daughter and her hygiene ethics, but she has a cat. The cat litter box is in her room, in her bathroom. She has her own bathroom. It's in her bathroom, and she cannot comprehend the fact that she has to clean that in order to keep a clean room because, you know, the cat urine smells over a period of time, and she will literally forget about it as soon as you tell her about it. Like, Michaela, go clean the litter box. It need to be clean. Okay, I'm about to do it. 3 hours later, Michaela, just clean the litter box. No, I'm about to do it. Okay, you were about to do it 3 hours ago. I'm about to do it now. You know, and command versus it's like a delicate rose. You know, you cannot handle it too rough or you'll get hurt. You know, and that being said, and that definition is because, like with Michaela, if you push her too hard, she lashes out of sheer frustration. If you push her too, like if she's not doing something right, she's at that age where she thinks she's right. All teenagers are like that. You know, all teenagers are like that. So if she thinks she's right, whether it's how to fold clothes or how to clean something, how to wash dishes, something like that, and you try to correct her, she lashes out. You have to approach her on a child level. A child level. She gets along better on the vocal conversation, games, whatever you want to call it, any activities with our 7-year-old son better than she does with someone her own age because of the comprehension. You know,
Yeah.
it's that comprehension. It goes right back to that comprehension. And it goes right back to not feeling accepted. Why? Because she's I don't know how to say this without it sounding really messed up, but the reality is she's like a 5-year-old trapped in a 14-year-old's body. That's the reality of it. You couldn't tell it by looking at her. You couldn't tell that about being around, but live with her for a month, and you will be able to tell.
No, looking
Watch.
at her, she looks like your normal, average 14-year-old. I said it. I said the word I hate, normal. But she looks like your average 14-year-old girl. She's beautiful. She's strong. And then you wouldn't think of all this stuff that's going on.
She's smiling. She's happy.
Hey, Fatty, we're also live on our new podcast on my Smiles Through the Pain YouTube. You have to look it up at Smiles Through the Pain. Me, Robert, and Artie are live on there as well, and on Facebook. Reeves Family, welcome. Teen Writer, welcome. Yeah, you would never be able to tell. We have people tell something, oh, you have such a beautiful, healthy girl. And I said, oh, if you only knew. If you only knew. And her teachers, like, she's in public school now. She goes to Wilson STEM Academy here in Charlotte. And her teachers will tell her or call and tell us, slow down. Get her to slow down. Because when she gets to school, she's hyped. She's ready. You know, she's ready to go to school. It's a new day, all that good stuff. But by lunchtime, it's bad. You know, slowed all the way down. They have to help her carry her books or her book bag. They give her a little cart to push around, and it's embarrassing to her. I said, oh, we can get you a wheelchair, or we'll get you a cane. You can pick out, like her physical therapist wanted to get a walking cane or a walking stick. I was like, I don't care if it costs me $1,000. Pick whatever stick you want. If it's pink with little kitty cats on it or whatever. No, I don't want it. I don't want it. I won't use it. I won't use it. You know? And it's because it makes her different. It makes her stand out. Nobody else is using these things. You know? So it makes her stand out. And mentally, that's damaging. You know? Mentally, that makes her feel like she's different off the top. And it wasn't until last year that she finally admitted out loud that I'm different than everybody else. I'm me, but I'm different than everybody else. You know?
Now, Stephen, I got a question.
Yeah.
What's the support like while she's at school? What kind of support does she get from the school facility or the other students?
All right. Well, one of the benefits of North Carolina and Charlotte Max school systems is they have an IEP program, which is where they can set her up a schedule where she stays in one class for the majority of the day, but covers all subjects. And she gets a lot of one-on-one. She gets pulled out one-on-one time with the teacher to try and help her along. Because over the past 13, 14 years, they've just been pushing her through the grades, not helping her at all, not abiding by the IEP plans and stuff like that. So it's really hindered her really bad. On top of that, she has the comprehension, you know, dealing with the comprehension on the mental aspect. So it doesn't help her to push her through and just pass her and pass her and pass her because of her age. It doesn't help her to hold her back because now she's 14 and in the third grade, you know. That don't help either. So they set up an IEP program to where there's a conference like every week with her specific IEP program teacher, and they have it set up for an assisted learning program, basically. And it's a beautiful thing, and it helps. But since this virtual learning crap started, it's been straight back. She's right back to where she was at. You know, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other students are too. You know,
because a lot of kids need that one-on-one.
Well, it ain't even a lot of kids. When you have a person like Michaela that literally needs, like, look, 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. You know, to sit there and literally break it down. If you have a teacher at the front room talking to 30 students, one, she can't focus. There's too much going on around her. 2, the teacher's not going to focus on her. He's focused on the class as a whole. He's going to give an assignment, and you're going to do it. See, with her assignments are separate. So whatever the class is working on, they're working on, but she's also working on her own separate assignment. So it kind of helps. It helps in a way as far as the IEP program goes, you know. So the schools here are really, really good about that. However, with this COVID stuff, it's been a mess, you know, as far as virtual learning goes. You know. But even I don't know how to say it. Like, even if she makes it in the ninth grade this year, she graduates, they pass her, she makes the ninth grade. She's not going to understand algebra. She's not going to understand calculus. How are you going to pass someone through school that can't understand those two things? She doesn't understand fractions. She can't do multiplication tables. Multiplication tables. We learned that in the third grade. You know, she can't comprehend schematics of mathematics. She can't count change. If I give Michaela, I tell you the difference. If I give my son, my stepson, if I give him $5, if I tell him he can spend $5 in the store, he's gonna go get something that costs $1.95. He's gonna go get something that costs 99 cents, and then he's gonna get another thing that costs $1.95. So he knows he's under $5, right? With Michaela, she'll walk to the store and look and look and look, and then she'll find something that says $5.95. Say, "Oh, I got something for $5." You know, and I said, "No, that's not $5. That's $6." She's like, "No, it's not. It says 5 right there." You know, so I mean, if my 7-year-old can get it, why can't my 14-year-old? You know, and she is so shy. Like, we go to Walmart, I'm like, "Get anything you want." We go to the mall, "Get anything you want." She will literally not ask for nothing until it's too late. Like, even with hygiene, like the comprehension stuff. Like, you would think, even taking care of a cat, you gotta have cat food, you gotta have cat litter. She'll go 2 days past not having any cat litter, and her room's all stunk up. And then me and her mom will get on her tail about it. And then she says, "Oh, but I need cat litter." Okay, why didn't you tell me that 3 days ago? "Oh, I forgot." How you forget? It stinks in there. "Oh, I forgot." You know, so it just from a parent's perspective, it's a struggle. I love my child to death, and I do anything for her, but it is a struggle. You know, it really is, because you can't talk down to her. You literally have to lesser yourself and talk to her at an equal level. So it's like I'm talking like a 3-year-old for her to understand it. You know, I mean, the disease is horrible, bro. It's horrible, man. The way this thing operates, the way it eats these kids up, the way it's eating up adults, it's horrible, man. Like, something has got to be done about this. No lie. ASAP.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jill said it out of her mouth. Jill just said they need more funding. And that's what we're doing. We're raising awareness. We are growing so fast across the nation, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, she also said the public school does not have the ability to help LGMD kids.
Well, I don't know about her state, but CMS does. The Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools does have that ability, not just through their IEP programs, but through their private schools. They do have that ability. But even when we had her in the private school, that particular private school did not abide by her IEP at all. So she wasted a whole year at that school and didn't learn crap, but got passed through anyway. Luckily, when we got her to Wilson STEM, yes, yeah. She says, yes, I don't know from a parent standpoint, but I do know stories about myself. I'm delayed in growing up. Absolutely. And it's the same thing going on with my kid. It's like her muscles are deteriorating so fast, but yet her mind's going so slow. Like her growth. You know, her character growth, her personality growth, all that's going so slow. And that's where it becomes really, really hard for you to look at your child and say, "Oh, you're turning 15 this year. Why don't you act like it?" She's not going to comprehend that.
Yeah.
You know, she can't act like it. You know, because of this condition, she cannot act like a normal operating human being at her age. And she has to go in there and go to sleep with that every night. You know, and like in all honesty, bro, like if you could have seen us, 4 or 5 months ago, this family, You would have never seen Michaela's face because she would have stayed reclused in a room. She would have stayed in there. If people come over to the house, she would not come out. Even if her cousins came out, she would not come out. She'd not want to do anything at all. She's just the dullest, most out of it person there is. All she wanted to do is sit in front of her TV and sulk about the house.
Yeah.
Now she is seeing what we have going on. She's seeing what the seed that I planted is actually starting to grow. Because I told her about Small City Pain before she started. We started taking pictures, getting her T-shirts and all that stuff. But like I said, COVID has slapped us in the face and slowed us all down as far as administrative matters went. And I got no progress. But now that I'm actually getting some progress, I mean, look where we're at right now. We're streaming. You know what I'm saying? We're streaming. We're making people aware. And these people are actually taking that message and embracing it with their heart and reciprocating that back to Michaela. And Michaela can see that, and it makes her come out of her room. It makes her, oh, Daddy, are you going live tonight? Or she sees all these pictures on this wall right here, and she says, oh, man, these people really do care about me. That does a lot for her mental stability.
Yeah.
That boosts her ego, not necessarily her ego, but it boosts her self-worth. Yeah, that's a tangible board with some pictures on it. But the people are real people. They're not a figment of her imagination.
Yeah. Well, brother, I got to get off here in a minute.
Yep, I'm about to close it down.
You having us on here?
I'm about to close it down here in a second. I'm pretty sure it's getting late. But I do appreciate
It's almost 1 o'clock.
all of you guys' time. Not there, it's not. It's still like 11 over there. They're in Oklahoma.
11:51.
Yep, see? 11:51.
That's what's 12:51 here.
Yeah, so I will shut it down. And I do appreciate you guys getting this kicked off for me on the new channel.
Anytime, man.
We can break ground with that and move forward. And you ain't got to do it tomorrow because tomorrow's family day or whatever, but just shoot me that info so that way I can stream it to both next time we go live.
Yeah.
The more the merrier, you know what I'm saying? All my subscribers are your subscribers, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And vice versa, so each one reach one, teach one. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep raising that awareness. It's a beautiful thing we got going here, man. I love you guys for it, man. I really do.
Yeah. We appreciate you too, man.
So that being said,
thank you, bud.
Hold on, Jill just said something. Let me see what she said real quick. Whoops. Let's see. That's my son. He would test in general, but he posts himself in his room and doesn't act like his age either. I've been concerned with him for years now, and lgmd, and this helps boost me up as well as Michaela. That's awesome, Jill. I'm so glad this gives you some type of happiness. Like, it puts a smile on your face. I am so glad for that because that's what it's about. I mean, it's about not just finding the cure. It's not just about raising awareness, but it's also about reaching out to each and every one of you who have this condition and embracing you as an equal person, an equal human, and lifting you up, giving you that strength to wake up with a smile on your face, giving you that strength to face the day, regardless of the amount of pain you're in. That's what we're here for. That is what we're here for. We are building relations and we are serving a purpose. And you guys, your happiness and your peace of mind, your mentality, all of that is our purpose. That's what we're serving. We don't want you sitting recluse in a home wondering if somebody out there actually gives a crap about you. We don't want you thinking about, oh, I'd rather just leave this world now. We don't want you sitting there thinking about, oh, I'll never walk again. I'm worthless to nobody. There's nobody out there for me. There's nobody that loves me. Because guess what? As of right now, you got people across the nation coming together for you. 3 different locations right here on this podcast right now. 3 different locations, and each of us are bringing with us thousands behind us. Thousands.
And Jill, I've said it to you many times, and this goes out for everybody out there dealing with this right now. Get a hold of us. Reach out to us if you want to share your story. We'll share your story. If you don't want to be on screen, that's fine. You can do it without the camera on. You can just talk. Let's.
Yeah, she's got my number. She can call me anytime she wants to. She's on my Facebook. That goes for anybody.
Yeah,
Anybody. I don't care if you have lgmd or not. You're a veteran. You're going through it from up here because you fight daily with whatever you've seen and whatever you've done. You call me. We'll talk it out. If you are handicapped in any way, shape, form, or fashion, like the gentleman last night with the video,
Last night, I was fixing to bring that up myself.
yeah, just like that. Call me. Call me. Send me a message. You have people out here that really will. They will mess some people up behind some stuff like that. Like, call me. That is not called for. Those people need to be lifted up, not broken down, because they are already unstable mentally as it is.
That gentleman last night, I know, got 4 videos backing him up.
Immediately. Because as soon as I seen it, I dropped it on. Like, that it's intolerable. And all that. See, and like Jill just said, if we don't ask, they don't say anything. But you know what else, Jill? If you don't ask, you don't get anything either. A question will never get answered till it gets asked first, and that's a fact. So if you're wanting help, if you're wanting a friend, if you're wanting a family, ask for it.
Reach out.
It's right here waiting for you. Open arms. Open arms. The green wave, baby. Open arms.
All right, everybody's welcome. I gotta get off here, buddy.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate. Yeah, she said you guys are family now too. Yes, we are, Jill. Yes, we are. I'm gonna put that up there last. So that's the last thing that goes up on our feed right there from our comment section. I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you for all of your efforts, all your questions, and for the beautiful time we've had embracing the vision that we've taken up, the mission, and we're gonna see this thing through, man. I look forward to our next episode. And y'all can sign off Q for you if you want to, but for me, if you wait with a breath, you're gonna stay blessed because the day's already blessed. So y'all have a blessed night.
Thank you for being you, Stephen.
All day, brother. All day. Y'all have a blessed night. That being said, everybody, this is it for Smiles of the Pain Incorporated today. The other two have signed off. I'm signing off now with much love coming from Charlotte, North Carolina. Smiles of the Pain Incorporated. This family here to your family there. And I pray we see each other on the next episode and help make aware all day, every day. Y'all have a blessed night.